And welcome to Mike Ferry TV. It's the week of July 18th. It's the week for us of our big superstar retreat. I think, as most of you know, we do the retreats twice a year. We do them in July on the West Coast, October on the East Coast. Hopefully a lot of you are attending this week. Now, it's interesting because we publish this particular little TV program for those that are not able to be there. So hopefully a lot of you are watching and paying attention and learning from this message. Last Thursday, no, maybe it was last Wednesday, I did my last promotional event for the retreat. And what I decided to do last Wednesday was do a little program here in Las Vegas for any agents in Las Vegas that wanted to attend. We had a good turnout. We had a lot of very anxious people that were trying to figure out this process of listing property. So we had a good group of people that I spoke to for 3 hours. At the end, I invited them to attend the retreat. Hopefully some of them are there. What I did is I covered with them what I said were some basic fundamental points on listing property that all of us have to understand, all of us have to know, all of us have to execute on. And I went through the points with them individually, and I said my purpose in doing these points was if they never come to an event, never come to a retreat, or never watch Mike Ferry TV, or never see any of us again, they're going to have 7 or 8 good, valid points to help them understand here the importance of listing property. I want to share those 7 or 8 points with you right now on this week's Mike Ferry TV. Here's what I said to them. Number 1, and probably the most important, make the tough decision today as to where you want your business to come from over the second half of this year. Is it going to come from listings sold or buyer-controlled sales? That is a tough decision, period. Why? Because as we know today, according to NAR, any place from 10, maybe it's 8, maybe it's 12% of the agents control the vast majority of all the listings in North America. I don't know if it's 80%, 90%, but it's an astounding amount of listings that are controlled by a handful of people. Now, why do I say it's a tough decision? Because to become one of them, which you can become, is a big decision from here working with buyers to here working with sellers. And it's a tough decision, and it's because of point number 2. Understand that listing property is totally different in terms of the skills and the skill set you have to know than showing property. During our tour in May and June, I kidded each audience with the fact that if you think about it, showing property is a defined skill set over here. Listing property is a defined skill set over here. They're totally different. And don't kid yourself. Oh, yes, we're both in conversations with people. Yes, we're going to ask questions, but the skills for the two are different. See, and I use this example. You have a highly qualified, motivated buyer sitting over here. You've had them pre-qualified by the lender. You've pre-qualified as to the type of home. You've selected 3 homes to show. You drive them out to the second home. You open the door. They walk in, and they look at you and say, "We love the house. We want to buy it." And then I stop and ask the audience the following. Tell me the exact skills you've used at this point to create this transaction. And the answer is almost none. Why? Because, see, generally speaking, buyers find us, and we have to go find sellers. Now, I want you to think about that for just a minute. Buyers find us, ad calls, sign calls, walk-ins, open houses, buying leads off the internet. These are buyers that are looking for a property. They're going to find you. That is one skill set. They found you. You were there. You were alive. You were breathing. They were able to wake you up and take you out and buy a home from you, versus a listing agent whose challenge is going to find that particular seller. So you have to think about that very carefully. Then I said number 3, decide about how you're going to go about getting listings. For example, are you going to wait for them to find you? A lot of people do. Are you going to buy your listings through commission cutting, through overpricing properties, through advertising and marketing? Or are you going to go out and earn the listings by trying to find the sellers that are in the marketplace every day? Because remember, in every city, every county, every borough, every province in the world, people are considering, talking about, thinking about selling their home today. Our job is to go find them. Decide on how you're going to go about that process. Number 4, understand that you have way less competition for listings, but the competition you have are much better salespeople because of the skills they've developed. If we take 10,000 agents, let's take 20,000 agents, let's take 50,000 agents, A handful will be great listing agents. But those people, and you know who they are, and I'm hoping it's you, are so good, so competitive, so driven, so strong, so sales-oriented that they actually push most of the agents who are good buyers out of the way. They don't do it on purpose. They just, their thrust, their desire, their thirst to get a listing is so strong, they get listings. And if we get caught up in that, we can probably survive and get listings also, but most of us get out of their way. See, the competition, if you're working with a buyer, there really isn't any. They've chosen you. And if you can't do the job, they choose the next one. But on listings, you're going to go against many times 2 or 3 other good agents. We want you to be the one that they select on a regular basis. By the way, at the retreat this week, tomorrow on day number 2, which will be, day 1, which will be Tuesday, I'm going to spend the entire time on how does the seller pick the agent. Number 5, understand the value and development of your database as a listing tool and a listing source. Too often we forget the value of the database. If you're having a challenge prospecting for listings, where better to start than in your database? I mean, what better group of people that know you, like you, have a level of relationship, in many cases trust you for who you are and what you've done? Start with your database. Number 6, accept the fact that in listing property, price and motivation are the 2 key words. I don't care what anybody tells you. It all comes down to price and motivation. If you can understand that issue of pricing property, the market stats, the strength it takes, and the honesty that you have to present those prices, and you're going to get listings because sellers want the truth, they just don't want to hear the truth. And then, of course, motivation. If they don't have to sell, what are you doing there? Doesn't even make sense. Number 7, remember you have certain rights as a listing agent. Now, I want you to think about this. You have certain rights as a listing agent. For example, you don't have to go on an appointment if they won't answer your pre-qualifying questions. You have the right not to go out. Now, why do we go out when they won't answer the questions? Or in essence, why do we give up control to the seller when they won't answer the questions? Because it may be our only listing appointment for the month. If you're going on a listing appointment every week, you have control. If you're going on 2 appointments, you have a lot more control. But you don't have to go out and talk to people that aren't motivated to sell and won't answer your questions. You don't have to take it to you don't have to go out and take their price and their commission that they're offering. You don't have to do that. If you can sense before you go out that they're going to be a person that's demanding a 4% commission, demanding a 5% commission, demanding you reduce your commission, demanding you price it up here, you don't have to go out. See, the catch is this. You have certain rights. I wrote down this example. You don't have to deal with rude or nasty people. You don't have to do that. There's no reason why they should be able to abuse you physically, mentally, and emotionally with the words they use. You don't go in and abuse the doctor. You don't abuse the pilot. You don't abuse the accountant. You don't abuse any of these types of people. Why would we let a seller abuse us? Only because we're not out there often enough to get our fair share. And then I said point number 8, the agents that prospect get listings. The ones that don't get listings. See, to work with buyers, you really don't have to prospect. You should, but you don't have to. To work with sellers, you got to prospect. And don't listen to all these crazy competitors of mine that tell you that you can get listings left and right off of Facebook and social media, and if you're texting and tweeting and blogging and all the things they tell you to do. Folks, either you're talking to people about getting their home sold or you're not. The people that talk to people, and at the retreat this week, I'm going to introduce virtually probably 75 to 100 people that have earned hundreds of millions of dollars in commissions as listing agents. If you're there, you'll enjoy that part. If you're not there, it is the name of the game. Why have they said for the last 50 years, listings are the name of the game? Because listings are the name of the game. If I get to see you over this course of this week at the retreat, make sure we shake hands, say hello. If I don't get to see you, I'll see you next Monday when we start again. Thanks for today. Thanks for having a great week. And thanks for being a great listing agent. Talk to you soon.